Welcome to Ingrid's World. My name is Ingrid Paris Hicklin. I am the host and executive producer of the television show. On this show, meet Dr. Vincent Boudreau, who was appointed president of the City College of New York Board of Trustees of the City University of New York on December the 4th, 2017. Prior to that, he served as the founding dean of the Colin Powell School of Civic and Global Leadership at CCNY from 2013 to 2016. A specialist in policies of social movement and particularly in Southeast Asia. He conducts research about government transition to democracy and collective violence, as well as the relationship between civil society, social movements, and the democratic processes in Indonesia and the Philippines. Well, welcome to this show, Dr. Boudreau.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. I'm pleased to be here.
Well, tell us about your career.
I actually came to City College in 1991. I was fresh out of graduate school. I joined the political science department at CCNY, and I've spent my entire professional career at this college, which I love to death, and have really done every job between assistant professor and president since then. I was chair of my department. I ran the International Relations Master's Program at CCNY. But then in 2002, I was asked to direct the Colin Powell Center at City College, which was at the time kind of a moribund institution. General Powell was one of our alumni, as you are one of our alumni. And so I took that small center and we built it into a Center for Leadership and Service for Students. And around 2012, we thought this has gotten to be such a big part of City College, but it's not connected to any of our academic programs. And so in consultation with General Powell and the leadership of the college, we combined the Colin Powell Center and the Division of Social Sciences. And in 2013, we founded the Colin Powell School for Civic and Global Leadership. I was the first dean of that school, and that's the position I was in when they asked me to be president. So all 32 years at CCNY.
Outstanding. So tell our viewers, where is City College of New York located?
Well, say that again?
Where is City College located?
Oh, well, we're up in Harlem in New York City. We are 20 blocks north of Columbia on the corner. Our official address is the corner of 138th Street and Convent Avenue. So we are right in the heart of Harlem, USA, and really proud of that address.
This is beautiful. Well, tell us about the founding of City College of New York.
Well, so City College was founded at a time when it wasn't expected that you would have a college education unless you were the son of a wealthy businessman or a politician, or maybe you wanted to be a minister. And I'm not just saying that it was hard to get into college. I mean, when City College was founded, there were letters in the newspaper between the first president of City College and the president of NYU, where they actually were debating what they called the experiment of City College, that college should be open to anyone with talent. It was from the beginning free and continued to be a free institution until 1977, when New York fell into some difficult economic circumstances. But we were one of the places in the United States where the idea that education should be an upward mobility ladder for everyone was first invented.
Wow. So what is the mission of City College of New York?
It's easy. The mission is to educate the whole people. That was a phrase that came up in our founding, and it continues to be the case today. We believe that America will never be as strong, as stable, as democratic as it could be unless there's actual educational opportunity for the whole people. And that means going into underserved schools and identifying talent. It means bringing people who have come from other countries and are in the process of becoming Americans and making sure there's an educational opportunity for them. As this kind of a school dedicated to upward mobility, we have an architecture school, we have a school of engineering, we have a medical school. So it's also a place where advanced science research takes place.
Yes.
But all of that matters in the context of making it available to everyone with talent. And it's still, it's still remarkably affordable education. It costs $7,000 for the entire year for a student to go to CCNY, which is, in this day and age, that's quite a bargain.
Exactly. Dr. Boudreau, you have a video clip from CCNY from the 75th anniversary. Can you introduce that for us?
Yeah, so the 175th anniversary was last year. And it's a moment when we gather supporters from our alumni, from the community. This was a gala where we honored the Harlem Chamber of Commerce because we've been building very strong relationships with our community. But it's also a chance for me to talk to my community about what it means to be an institution that for 175 years has been carrying forth this remarkable mission that was given to us at our founding and that we feel we've been acting on ever since. So it's a great night. It's a black tie event in a room, what I think is the kind of sacred heart of CCNY. We call it the Great Hall. And it is, if you're ever up in New York and you want to see a beautiful room, come to the Great Hall at City College, but you'll see it on this clip.
Okay, thank you. Well, stay tuned, everyone, because we're watching this great clip.
Mark.
Good evening.
What are we doing?
What should we talk about today? The vision that the founders of City College and the City University is something that has made New York City great.
I grew up in New York City, and so, everywhere you go around this town, you tell people where you work, they go, oh, City College, my uncle went to City College, my father went to City College, I went to City College. For me, my math teachers in high school went to City College.
So for me, City College is New York. City College looks like the world. And I've got in City College a place that pushes me forward and lets me help build on the legacy of the last 176 years now.
Thank you so much for providing this wonderful clip. We saw parts of it because we really want to spend most of our time speaking with you. Because the next question is, tell us about the schools and the divisions that are located at CCNY.
Well, as I said earlier, we have a School of Engineering, which is the only public school of engineering in New York City. Wow. We have an architecture school where we have both graduate programs and undergraduate programs and really devoted to questions of, what does the built environment need to be to serve New Yorkers? And to serve people who are living in urban communities where, maybe there's not a lot of resources. One of the things I'll say about virtually every school and division at the college is we are oriented towards serving the needs of the communities that our students come from. So our students are not wealthy students. They come from neighborhoods like the South Bronx and Washington Heights and Harlem, places that maybe don't have a lot of money and the facilities aren't great. So architecture school is really thinking about the housing and built environment challenges of that community. We have a medical school that is focused on providing primary care physicians to underserved communities. Our Colin Powell School for Civic and Global Leadership, that's where our social sciences take place. They're really interested in questioning existing relationships of power and opportunity and developing a new class of leaders from our students. And so lots and lots of resources devoted to leadership questions. We have a division of science with great physics, really interested in some of our programs in the science that underpins microchip legislation and trying to get the United States to make sure that we have the kind of supply of semiconductors that we need. Humanities and arts, where we have both drama and literature and history and philosophy. And then we have a remarkable program called the Center for Worker Education, where people who are older maybe and working adults can go and at night in a kind of accelerated format, they can get their college degrees. And I guess the one that I've left out is our School of Education, which for over 100 years has concentrated on the particular needs of urban public schools. So how do we hear so much about the American educational system falling behind. This is a school that's really focusing on basic questions of literacy in public schools and mathematics and skills. So that's City College.
Wow. Well, thank you. And it has expanded since I last attended.
It is a growing institution, that's for sure.
It sounds like it. So what degrees are offered at CCNY?
We go everywhere from a Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science, that's your 4-year college degree, all the way up to PhD programs, and with master's programs in between. So just to give you a sort of taste of it, we have PhD programs in all of our engineering departments, and so that's chemical engineering and civil engineering and mechanical and computer engineering. So all of those have PhD programs.
Wow.
There's also a PhD program in clinical psychology, and that's in the Colin Powell School. And then there's master's programs across the college. And so some that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of. There's a master's program in jazz, and we have a really terrific program in branding and integrated communication, which is like advertising and public relations, but it also brings in things like digital arts and design and strategy, brand strategy. We also have a very, very popular master's in fine arts, both in painting and drawing, but also in creative writing. And I could go on and on across the divisions. And then, of course, we've got the undergraduate degrees.
Wow. And so the programs that you offer, did we touch on all the different programs that you offer there at City?
Oh, I could probably eat up the whole show talking about all the different programs that we offer. I've given you some of the highlights, but we have something like 45 different majors on
Wow.
campus, and majors also have various programs attached to them. So, for instance, if you were to join the economics department,
Yes.
you would have the choice of being an economics major or a major in management or a major in business administration. So 3 separate majors within that. If you were in the political science department, you could have concentration in international relations or American politics or public policy or all of these things. And then outside of the degree granting programs, we have what we call programs designed to do something specific for individual students. So for instance, if you're interested in law, we have a pre-law honors program that's really dedicated to diversifying the legal profession by training our students to get into law school. There are research programs all across the science and engineering fields. So really, it's a very, very diverse programmatically college, and we're always keeping an eye on the needs of our that and so new programs arise when we say, well, here's an unmet need that where we want to train our student body to go out into society and meet those needs.
I see. So tell us about your full-time faculty members.
Oh gosh, our full-time faculty members, we if you're a full-time member at the college, you've got a PhD, and there are some of the most innovative researchers in the country. We have 7 members of our engineering faculty are members of the National Academy of Engineers.
Wow.
We've got 9 scientists that are members of the National Academy of Science. These are these are academies that recognize the most advanced contributions that you can make. One of our journalism faculty members was a finalist for a Pulitzer Prize this year, a woman named Linda Villarosa. We have, people on, so for instance, in the engineering school has decided that their mission is going to be to decarbonize the grid. And so you have researchers there who are working on battery storage for wind and solar power. And some of those battery scientists are actually developing a battery that's going to be used by NASA in a probe going to Mars. We have people who are working in what we call remote sensing, but people will think about it as satellite technology, that are monitoring the weather and are very, very concerned about climate change. And so not just weather patterns, but what's happening long term in terms of snowpack and what they call the cryosphere. Cryosphere means the part of the Earth that is covered by ice, and how is that changing? As I said earlier, we've got scientists who are working in photonics and nanotechnology.
Wow.
In our creative writing program, we have award-winning novelists and poets. So it just goes on
It
and
just
on
goes
and on.
on
You
and
can't
on.
go to a department at City College without running into a faculty member who is tremendously accomplished in his or her field.
The city has received a lot of recognition in terms of awards and nationally. Tell us a little bit about some of the awards that the city has been recognized.
Yeah, so historically, we've had 11 Nobel Prize winners who have graduated from CCNY, and one additional one who didn't graduate from City College. Henry Kissinger went here for a couple of years and then finished off at Columbia. But one of the more recent recognitions that we're so proud of is, you asked me earlier what our mission is, and I guess the easiest way to say what our mission is it's social mobility, bringing in people who don't have a lot of resources and making sure that when they graduate, they're going to have a life of prosperity. That question of social mobility is starting to work its way into college rankings, and so there's a relatively new agency. It's called Degree Choice. And it asks the question, what difference does it make in the life of a student that they went to, your college? And so we were recently named the #1 national university in the country in terms of producing positive social and economic change in the lives of our students. So I can't stop talking about that one, because it's not just that we were #1 in the country, but it's exactly the mission that the founders of City College set out to accomplish 176 years ago.
Wow. So then wanted to make sure we included that to then say to you, tell us about the students that attend City. Who are they?
The students are wonderful. We say to incoming students, more than 70% of our students are either themselves immigrants or the sons and daughters of immigrants. And a huge proportion of our students, somewhere north of 65%, are eligible for full financial aid, meaning that they come from relative poverty. Many of them, more than 50%, are the first in their families to go to college. And so what we say to our students, I'll say it in 2 months at freshman convocation, when you come to City College, you're changing the entire history of your family. You're providing a role model that wouldn't be there except for the fact that you've come to CCNY. And then from a diversity standpoint, about 18% of our student population identify as white, and everybody else is something else. And I don't mean that they're one thing. We have about 25% of our population are African Americans, 36% are Latinos, rising population of Asians, many more coming from the Middle East. In fact, over the years that I've been teaching at City College, one of the things that I've noticed, it's such a clear pattern, is that wherever there's trouble in the world, about 2 years later, we get people from that region coming to the United States and to City College. So I started teaching in 1991. A year later, we got the first flood of students from China after Tiananmen Square. A year later, we started to get all the students from the former Soviet Union that were coming in.
Wow.
So we have a global campus, and what that means from a diversity standpoint is that if you're a student in a classroom and you look around at all the students that are sitting next to you, probably most of them are going to be different from each other, and they're going to be different from you. Meaning that when you graduate from here, you've already had a kind of a global experience, and that's a kind of training that is really important for our country these days.
Indeed, absolutely. Now tell us about city's public-private partnerships. I mean, because that is really amazing about what you're doing.
Well, one of the things that's really it's something that I've made a priority in my administration is we haven't had a big emphasis on workforce development and continuing education. You know, in other words, people who are coming to the college not necessarily to get a degree, but to get a package of skills that are needed for society. And so as we started to reorient ourselves and frankly pay more attention to what America needs from a college like CCNY, these public-private partnerships have started to emerge for us. So a really good example is there is a massive wind farm that's being built off the coast of, it's kind of between Staten Island and New Jersey out to sea.
Yes.
Our engineers are going to be designing the turbines for that facility, and our students are going to be trained in green energy technology coming out of the engineering school, but we'll also in our workforce development be training some of the workers who maybe don't have a college education but want to be prepared to work on that site. So here in this one project you have the college embracing the need for clean energy, using our research to design turbines, our students to do the engineering of that project, and then our adult and continuing education and workforce development to make sure that there's a steady flow of trained workers to make sure that that plant is working. The other one I'll mention quickly, but it has that same kind of relationship between our research, our graduating students, and workforce development, is we have the Charles B. Rangel Infrastructure Workforce Development Initiative. Congressman Rangel is from our neighborhood, and he came to us and said, and this was long before the infrastructure bill was passed, he said, America needs to rebuild its infrastructure. The workforce that's working in infrastructure does not look like my community, and what better place to train a new workforce in infrastructure than CCNY. So he came to us saying, we've got to get more people into the workforce. But being a college with an engineering school and a civil engineering concentration, we're also able to say, let's not train people in today's infrastructure, let's train them in the infrastructure of the future. So for instance, today, I was in a class where students were learning how to fly drones through bridges to do stress testing, to make sure, we just, when we're taping this program, we just had that bridge collapse in New Jersey.
Yes.
We'll be training students to fly drones through bridges to sort of assess if there's cracks, if there's stress fractures. And that's just one tiny module in the whole project of the Charles B. Rangel Infrastructure Workforce Initiative at the college.
Well, I tell you, Dr. Boudreau, you're absolutely wonderful interview. I have to thank you so much, and I think the last 30 seconds is who should consider coming to City? Who should come to City?
Oh, everybody should come to City. When you're in New York, come on up. We'll give you a tour. But look, we're a public university, and in Harlem they call us the People's University. We are open to everyone, but particularly to people who are thinking about what America needs from a new workforce and a new leadership.
Well, thank you, Dr. Boudreau, for being on Ingrid's World to discuss the City College of New York. What an amazing school, and this is inspiring. My inspirational quote is from General Colin L. Powell, former U.S. Secretary of State, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and a graduate of the City College of New York. Wouldn't it be great if we could look forward to a whole world in which no child is left behind? Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget to friend us on Facebook at Ingrid's World, and follow the show at Ingrid's World VA in Twitter and Instagram. And if you miss an episode, watch the show at Ingrid's World LLC YouTube channel or ingridsworld.org. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.